Welcome back to the Old Hockey Show, and we've got round 2 coming up tonight, and this evening we've got the Seattle Kraken versus the Dallas Stars in round 2, and I just want to say right off the bat that this series will be the best one. I saw their games in the regular season. These two teams have such a good natural chemistry against each other that it's so fun to watch. So look out. My prediction is that this series will be the very best one of the entire playoffs. They're just so dynamic. They've got such a good they're not yin and yang or like super defense, super offense, but they're just very good, like matched up against each other. So look out for this to be an amazing series. It'll be fantastic. But other than that, going into this one, the Dallas Stars are definitely the more offensively skilled team. I mean, if you want to try to question like defense to defense, you could like maybe debate that. Goaltending, you could say going into it, Ottinger's definitely better, but with the way Grubauer is playing, those two basically wash each other out. But I think the one spot that you could definitely give a team the advantage is Dallas's offense. They are definitely the more skilled team in this scenario. But we know Seattle can handle, they can stand, and they can defeat a team that is offensively more skilled than them in round 1 against the Colorado Avalanche. But here's where the question remains, and I'm sure you've already read it on the board at this point. Can Seattle stand a team with more than one good line and one good D-man in the back, right? That is my question. Because the Avalanche, I know a lot of people were like, whoa, this is the upset of the century. This is nuts that the Kraken won. No one picked the Kraken to win. Guess who freaking did, buddy? That's right, I did. Go look at my videos. I predicted it. I have it on my bracket. I chose the Kraken to win. I saw this coming, so I'm not surprised for one, because in the playoffs, it's been time and time again that it's been shown that defense and depth is what wins you the playoffs, right? That is what wins the Stanley Cup. That's what the Avalanche had last year. They had offense in the form of defense in the form of offense, and they had that depth up front and a good goaltender in net. They had everything it needs to take to win. To win the Stanley Cup, you need to have all the layers to win, and they did not have that this year, and that is why the Kraken won their series. But going up against, they didn't have the depth or really good goaltending, and that's what won them the Kraken this series. They had the goaltending, they had the depth, they had the defense, they had the offense, they had what it takes to win. But against the Dallas Stars, can they do that, the same thing, but with a team that has 3 very solid offensive lines, 3 great D pairings that can produce offense and make amazing defense, and they've got the physical edge on their gameplay. And that's one thing that Seattle did not face against the Avalanche is the physical nature of the game. They didn't really have to go into that. The Minnesota versus Dallas series, I think, is probably the most physical series. I don't think it's that's controversial to say. The most physical series in the entire tournament so far, and they're going to have to face off against that. So that's a factor that Seattle is yet to face in the playoffs up to this point. So with Seattle, they won by capitalizing on their very few chances against the Avalanche and their limited ozone time. But they capitalized when they could. When they had an opportunity to score, they got them. Sure, they only might have had 5 chances to score in the game, but they scored on at least 3 or 4 of them, right? The Avalanche, against their series, the Avalanche, they had like 10 great chances to score, but they only would score on 2 or 3 of them as well because Grubauer was such a good goaltender in net, and that's going to be an interesting one, is because with them against Dallas, it's going to be interesting because Dallas, they are a team that capitalizes. Now, Grubauer in net is definitely going to be a factor that's going to change the way things are going to work. But with Dallas against Gustafsson and the Minnesota Wild, they scored on their opportunities. When Minnesota made a bad defensive mistake, they scored, and that's how the Kraken scored as well. But here's the thing, is the depth of Dallas is going to win them the day. That is what's going to be the biggest factor in my eyes, is with the Kraken. They were able to destroy the Avalanche when anyone who wasn't wearing 29, number 8, or 96 was on the ice. They were the one in charge of the game when those guys weren't out there. Only issue was that those guys were out there half the game most nights, right? With the Kraken going up against and they were able to pounce when the other 30 minutes of the ice was when guys like Girard, when guys like Malkin were on the ice. That's when they scored their goals. But they're going to have a big, big, big issue when it comes to Dallas, because Dallas, every line that's going to be on the ice is going to be producing, and their superstar guys, they have that advantage over Seattle. They have the depth guys. I mean, every line, Sagan, Robertson, Hintz, one line, Marchment, Ben, and I don't know who, Johnston, and then you've got Dadonov, you've got Domi, you've got so many lines of guys that are kicking. They are running the wheels right now for Dallas, and defensively with Heiskanen, Lindell, even guys like Thomas Harley and Hakanpää, they're playing amazing defense, and Jake Ottinger in net. It's going to be a very tough game for Seattle to ever find their chances to score, because against the Avs, they had those chances when the top guys weren't out there. With the Dallas Stars, all lines out there are playing like they're on fire, and that is that's going to be the key ingredient to this series. So my thoughts is that Seattle won due to the Avs' lack of depth, and they were able to take advantage of that and capitalize when they weren't on the ice, and that Grubauer shut down everything the Avalanche, for the most part, threw at him. With Dallas, they won by beating the amazing shutdown defense of the Minnesota Wild. That's how they won their series. They were able to withstand their physicality and their shutdown defense and good goaltending. They were able to beat all of those factors, right? They didn't have to rely. Now, Jake Ottinger definitely saved them that series, because I would say Minnesota, in a lot of the games, could have definitely taken the series, but Jake Ottinger was there to make the saves, and he was a big, big factor. Now, I'm not making as much of a big a point, because I think Grubauer, the way he's playing right now, is going to go over to the next series, and those two kind of wash each other out. So, good goaltending in both of these teams, but Dallas is going to have all the offensive advantage, every single line out there, every player out there, and they're going to be able to pour on the heat. You think it was scary that the Avalanche were able to run the entire time and almost win the series with their one line of guys? Wait till every line out there is able to run the gambit against the Seattle Kraken. That's going to be the scary factor. So I'm leaning towards Dallas in this series. They have the depth. They have the goaltending. They have the defense. They've got everything going for them. And they're all going. All lines are going. They're all buying in. Every single player of the Stars is kicking right now. While Seattle, and Ottinger too, is on freaking fire. Seattle, they will win this series, right? They will win this series if they can get in their more offensive chances. If they can find a way to, because I think in a lot of people's mind is that the Avalanche are such a good team that there's a reason why the Kraken didn't get a lot of chances. But really, if you look at it, the Avalanche were absolutely abysmal when it comes to their defense. I mean, guys like Girard, people really like Girard, people like Byram. I love those guys too, but they were huge minuses in that series. They were getting scored on most of the time when they were on the ice, not producing goals. They were getting scored on. And the Kraken, when it comes to them now, they did, and you think that the Kraken had a tough time against the Avalanche making those chances and being able to run the offensive zone and get that time on attack out there against the Avalanche, who were the numbers were not very good at that actually. Look at Dallas with got every single line out there is going to be so much tougher. So if Seattle can figure out how to match their physicality and are able to figure out a way to run the zone, the O zone, and find more chances to score, and they've got the added benefit of being able to barely outscore the Avalanche. Now they've got Jake Ottinger in net, not Alexander Georgiev. They've got Jake the freaking Otter in net, and they're going to have to try to score against him, and they already had a tough time scoring against the Colorado Avalanche. I like the Seattle Kraken. I really do. I really want them to win. I think they are slowly becoming my new favorite team just because I wear a Pirates of the Caribbean doubloon or the Aztec gold from the movies. I love the Kraken. I love Davy Jones. They're slowly becoming my favorite team, but the Dallas Stars are one of my favorites as well, and it's very hard in my mind to see Dallas not winning this series. And I just got to be completely honest. They've got everything going for them, and I think in people's head, I think they're molded to thinking that the Avalanche are such an amazing team and that the Kraken upset them. But if you really look at them, take a look at their team. Do you really believe in a guy like Evan Rodriguez, that weird-looking guy, to win you a series? You really think the depth of Lars Eller and Dennis Mulligan and Andrew Cogliano are going to be able to withstand the depth of the Kraken? No. But now you've got the Stars, where even when Colorado barely beat them with one line, now the Stars got every line, and they're going to beat them. Every advantage I can see goes to the Dallas Stars on paper, philosophically. I think the Dallas Stars have this on lock. Seattle's going to have a very tough time scoring goals, and the Dallas Stars are a kingpin when it comes to taking advantage. I'd say they're only second to the Florida Panthers at this point when it comes to capitalizing on chances. So that's all I got to say. Because one slip-up by the Kraken, one slip-up, and you got a guy like Johnston who will be able to rip it in the net. Every single 60 minutes of the game, you will have a guy like Johnston, or Ben, or Domi, or Dadonov, or Sagan, or Robertson, or Hintz, who when you make one bad mistake and you drop a puck in the slot, or the top of the circles even, they're going to be able to find that crossbar in the back of the net. That's how it's going to work. And that's how I see this going. So that's all I've got to say. I think Seattle is doomed, and I think this series is going to go 5-1. I think Kraken will get one win, but Dallas is going to win 4-1. So that's all I got to say. If you've made it this far and you've enjoyed, please feel free, and please, I'm begging you, please pick up your free subscription. Please, I'm begging. And until next time, have an amazing day. Too sweet, and ta-ta for now.